So here we are going to learn about Pareto analysis. This is also known as the 80-20 rule or the principle of vital few and trivial many. And Pareto analysis is a powerful statistical technique used to identify the most important factor contributing to a problem or process. Pareto analysis, also known as the 80-20 rule, is a method of identifying the vital few items among the many less critical ones. It is named after Wilfredo Pareto, who observed that approximately 20% of the population owned 80% of the properties in Italy. And here in the adjoining figure, we can clearly see that 20% of efforts, causes or inputs are delivering us the 80% of rewards, effects or outputs. And similarly, the rest 80% of efforts, causes and input deliver only the 20% of remaining rewards, effect and output. So this is the underlying principle of Pareto analysis. We have to keep in mind the following key points about Pareto analysis. It helps us to prioritize efforts by focusing on the most impactful factors, often represented graphically as a Pareto chart or Pareto diagram, and can be applied to various fields including business, quality control, software development, and many others. When to use Pareto analysis? So we can use Pareto analysis if we are trying to optimize processes or workflow, identifying the most significant problem in a system, prioritizing improvements in business operations, analyzing product usage pattern, customer behavior. How to perform a Pareto analysis? So in order to perform a Pareto analysis, we must follow these following steps. First, we have to collect the data on the factor we are trying to analyze. After that, we will categorize the data into groups, and then we will count the frequency of each category. We will rank the category from highest to lowest frequency. Then we will plot this on a bar chart with frequencies depicted on the y-axis and categories spread on the x-axis. And at last, we add a cumulative percentage line to visualize the 80-20 rule. So let us understand the different components of a Pareto chart in order to interpret the chart properly. Okay, so here in the adjoining figure, we can see that we have a Pareto chart, and this has the following four components. The x-axis, this is the x-axis, which is showing us the categories represented as bars. Then we have the y-axis, and this y-axis shows us the frequency of these categories. The ranked bar, so these are the ranked bars. They are ranked from highest to lowest, and then the cumulative percentage curve. And this cumulative percentage curve shows us the vital few from the trivial many. And if we are to analyze this Pareto chart, we can clearly see that this 80% line comes up here. This means these four: wrong dosage, substitution, infusion pump error and insertion. These four problems are cumulatively resulting into 80% of the problem faced, or whatever we are trying to visualize in here. So what are the applications of Pareto chart? So a few examples of practical application of Pareto analysis are here. In businesses, it is observed that 80% of sales comes from 20% of customer. In software development, 80% of bugs are found in 20% of the codes. In health and safety, 80% of accidents are caused by 20% of hazards. In manufacturing, only 20% defect result to 80% of the rejection of parts or products. In mechanical maintenance, and I can personally attest to this, that only 20% of the failure are the cause of 80% breakdowns or downtimes. Because I work in a mining company as a maintenance engineer for the last 7 years, and I have definitely observed this. And I also use Pareto analysis a lot when I am finding the root cause of a problem, or when I am focusing my efforts to better mitigate the recurring problem, so as to get to the problem that is going to reward me most when I clear that. So how do we interpret the results of Pareto analysis? So this analysis helps us to identify the vital few factors that contribute to the majority of problem, and help us to focus on these high frequency issue first to achieve the greatest impact. And this was an introduction to Pareto analysis, how to perform Pareto analysis and where it is helpful. And now let us go to Excel and see how we can perform Pareto analysis in Excel. Okay, so this is our global superstore database, and we are going to use this database to create a Pareto chart, and that Pareto chart will be created with the intent to study where most of our collection or revenue is coming from in terms of country, and which country are contributing to 80% of our revenue. Okay, so for that, first of all, we have to create this into a table. For that, we are going to first of all select the entire database by pressing Ctrl plus A, and then we will press Ctrl plus T to turn it into a table. Now let us go to let us go to insert and pivot table on a new sheet, and this created our pivot table. So we will bring in country and then sales. Okay, so this here is populated. First of all, we are going to sort it by largest to smallest. Then we will go to value field setting, and number format we are going to use currency and no decimal. Okay, so this is better now. Now see, we have sales in the range of only 150. So we will value filter greater than or equal to 10,000. Okay, so now see, everything that we have is greater than 10,000. After that, we are going to bring in the sales amount once more and perform the same operations on it. And now right click on this second one and come to show value as and percent running total, and click on OK. Now our data is ready to be visualized as a Pareto chart. So click anywhere on this, go to Analyze, Pivot Chart, Combo Chart, and this second sum of sales, we want it in the form of line, and then make it a secondary axis. And now see, our Pareto chart is created. So we can edit the chart. Legends we want at the bottom. Then we are going to format the axis. Instead of 1.2, we are going to make it 1. And now see, this 80% line, this comes up to here, that means Dominican Republic. So countries from United States to Dominican Republic, or Iran, Turkey, these countries from United States to Turkey are contributing to 80% of our sales. This is how we create a Pareto chart inside of Excel, and we can also go here and value filter greater than or less or equal to 50,000. See, every value here is greater than 50,000, and now our chart is much more discernible. We can easily see the difference, and among all the countries from where we are getting a revenue of more than 50,000 or equal to 50,000, so in all those countries this is the 80% line, and this 80% line we can go and put data labels, but that is not looking very good, so let's not do that. This is how it is done. Let us now go and enhance our Pareto chart a little bit more. So we are going to remove these grid lines and we will add 180% line from ourselves. We'll copy and paste the data. This is not needed, and here we will write 0.8 and go to home, make it a percentage, and then we will fill it to the bottom. Now on the basis of this, what we can do, we can create a table here, and on the basis of this we can insert a chart, combo chart. Let's see. This will be a line. See, we got it. Now we'll come here. We don't want the grid lines, and now we have an upgraded Pareto chart where we have our own 80% line. We can click on this, then right click and come to outline and reduce the weight of this line, and see, this chart clearly shows that country up to Nicaragua is giving us up to 80% of all our sales. Now we can just cut this chart and go to a new sheet and paste it. We can give it a title or anything that we want to do with it. And this is how we perform Pareto analysis in Excel.